Alrighty. Alright. What? Damn it. Get back there. What you want, Kitty? You just hold on. I'll get you. Hold on there. Yeah. Alright, whatever. Shit, whatever. Alright. Nobody's in here. Just hold on. Jones, calm down. Okay?
I used to manage my team with spreadsheets. It was automatic. And
Well, that's nice. I got an ad.
Monday.com is a platform to track everything the team is working.
Skip.
Use it for all our
Alright. Let's take care of you, Furball. Alright, you. Just right away. Not going anywhere for a while. Put that down. And while we're at it, you really gotta behave yourself. Take one of these. All right. Okay. Ow. Shit. All right, well, so one person's watching. All right. And this time I'm taking precautions. Oh, you know. I'm taking precautions. There are no more incidents like last time. Let's see the chat. Okay, that's it up here. Alrighty. I have a water breathing. Oh, Lord. And we are 4th of July. Trying to clear out. I'm like messed up for the past week and I got it cleared out. All right. I sit here waiting for topics. And again, as always, the super chats are open because I need to Get a few more bucks racked up here, so I make sure I get a check this month. So I got right on the edge. What do we got here? I have not played Dungeons and Dragons in a very long time, but yeah, I still got a few characters stored away somewhere back in Denver, unfortunately. But I got a few fighters and a wizard or two. Got a bag of dice that gone exceedingly cold, unfortunately, because they haven't been used in a long time. But definitely logged in some hours in D&D. Second edition. That gives you an idea how long it's been. Played a halfling thief at one point, and it's like bungled a pickpocket thing rather badly, and thankfully the rather brawny fighter mistook me for a small child, so he didn't kill me immediately. And tried a wizard one time, but unfortunately I played fighters all the time, so I played this wizard like it was a fighter. And it's just like, no, you don't go chase after cast spells. So. And if we ever get settled, we finally get settled somewhere, I wouldn't mind getting back into a game or two, get the right crew around. Or maybe hook up, like Mary does online. Just, people gather around the computer. Okay. We're trying a couple of. There's been a few Star Trek RPGs over the years. I think I tried the first Phasa one, and never could get anywhere with it. Can never find anyone to play the second one. I got the rule books and the source books, but I don't know I got an itch back here. I remember way back in the just like mid '80s or so, like the role playing game was just starting up, but the general consensus I was getting was that the role playing game was great, but the Starship Combat sucked. So what people were doing was using the role playing game for role playing, but when it came to ship combat, they used the Starfleet Battles rules. So I don't know. I never got into Starfleet Battles, so. Oh, I got a few of the miniatures. Any more ancient gaming questions, Zach? Or the one game I tried getting some logging time with was Champions. I think it's the GURPS system, which is pretty a hero games system where they got a bunch of. No, I never got into GURPS. No, it was a hero game system where they a kind of a point-based system for generating characters, and they use it on a few different games. There was an adventure game, kind of an Indiana Jones thing. There was a crime game they had, and then the superhero game. But it's all the same system, so you can actually translate the characters across from one game to the next. And did a lot of champions. I got a stack of champions characters. I could do my own, superhero teams just with those characters I got. And had the beginnings of a comic book. Which one day we'll finish, and maybe I'll print out just for the hell of it. But I got one. The first issue is completely penciled, scripted, and mostly inked, or at least partly inked. Second issue is plotted out, kind of roughed out in a notebook somewhere. Okay, well, no, I'm no good at any RPGs right now, so like, even my dice are back in Colorado. So these are dice I've had for a very long time, so I'm not really looking at replacing them. Nothing with the hero system. It's all D6s. Like there was one game going, set off a massive explosion, and it's like, how much? So for the hell of it, I actually calculated how many D6, and actually we pretty much had to pool every D6 we had amongst a bunch of us, and it's like 30 D6. Just rolled it up. It's ridiculous. The cat is hopefully happily back there, so it won't be any problems. Big old bowl of water and a can of food, and then some dry beyond that. So he should be fine for a while. Okay. All right. I think I tried playing Traveler once. It really didn't go anywhere though. And then what was it? TSR had a space game of their own. I forget the name of the thing. But it was a lot simpler to get, easier to get started than Traveler. That's for sure. I still got all my D&D books, mainly because I put what I thought at the time was kind of fancy inscriptions in the side of the thing. So I was like, I can't sell these. I can't get rid of these. I'm stuck with them. Dune? No. All I've done with Dune is I've seen the movie. I got the Dune the movie on Blu-ray, and I tried to watch that sci-fi miniseries. Yeah. Captain Jesse, how are you doing today? Okay. Yeah. This morning, we're knowing where we're at. The 20 to 1 here. I'll tell you what, I drove a school bus for 5 years, and I really don't want to try and get a CDL again, because it really is a pain in the ass when you got it, and my health is such right now is I don't know if I'd be able to get another CDL. And besides, this settlement comes in at the right place, I'll be officially retired as far as that goes. We get enough money to get into a house, and it's like, that's it. We're living off the wife's disability and whatever I can build up on this channel. Yeah, it's that. Yeah. Oh yeah, my dad's father is a truck driver. I can't, can't say anything about it. I got enough with the bus driving. I can see I don't mind cross country driving. I did a drive from here to Gainesville just for the hell of it, and had to pull in some money from other sources to try and get back down because took a little more gas than I thought it was going to. Yeah. Well, again, I got enough issues health-wise going on. So I don't think they tried to take one look at the lymphedema issue with my legs. They go and look at it. No, forget it. You're a heart attack waiting to happen. And again, I think when I started with Denver Public Schools, I think I actually had low blood pressure. It was a little below it. Now it's like, forget it. It's like it's stuck in the high gear now, and I'm trying to get it back down. I mean, this particular lifestyle definitely doesn't help things. I appreciate the sentiment, though, but I don't think I'm. Okay, I think best guess what's going on with Discovery in Iceland right now is it's a couple of producers, and then Mary Weissman and Shanika Market Green are in. They're in Iceland, probably just scouting, really, for locations, and maybe some B units. But I think they're primarily just scouting. Well, yeah, the D&D books would be worth a good penny if I hadn't written all of them in them and put kind of fancy curses and inscriptions and all the eyes of whatever. Yeah, just I kind of ruined them in that respect. So I'm kind of stuck with my D&D books, and we're talking old, like I said, second edition. So, and some of the later, the Arcana, and But yeah, I don't think actual production has begun. There's probably some pre-production going on, stuff that doesn't have to be budgeted or anything. They're siphoning stuff off from Picard for that, I think. But there's a certain element of they got to keep things look like they're actually keeping going here, because otherwise it's like, well, you're not doing anything, we're going to pull the plug. So they got to make it look like they're busy, so they're less inclined to cancel outright. But yeah, I think because let's face it, Discovery has been a disaster. The only bright spot has been when they brought in Captain Pike, and to a lesser extent Spock, because they really they damn near destroyed Spock and what they've done to him. And and their version of fixing canon is like, we don't talk about it. It's like, bull. That does not work at all. No. It's like you wonder where the hell Kurtzman's mind goes. They think that's fixing canon. They didn't fix a damn thing. If nothing else, you still got the wrong ship and the wrong uniforms for that period. So you didn't fix a goddamn thing, Alec Kurtzman. You're an idiot. I would not trust you to write a shopping list. Never mind a script for. I still can't believe they're throwing that much money after this. They've got to be cutting back the budget to near nothing at this point. I'm betting this trip to Scotland is being billed as a vacation. They're doing some Scotland, but no way are they footing this thing as actual production cost. Because the numbers are not. If the numbers are there, they'd be shouting from the rooftops, and this would have to be doing massive viewing numbers, and pretty much universal acclaim from the fan base, nothing else, for them to really actually, I think most novels probably wouldn't. Because the book you can do a lot of stuff in a book that you really can't do on screen. And I'm not talking technically, because with CGI nowadays, there's no limit to what you can actually depict visually, but stuff just doesn't work in certain things. Well, you'd think, but well, I'll tell you what. When they were doing Firefox, Clint Eastwood, they have figured they were going to go up to Montana in the winter. There'll be no problem. No ice. They got up there. There was no snow anywhere. And this was the middle of winter. But it was green, kind of brown scrub brush. They had to truck in snow from miles around to duplicate. There's one of the ice flow scenes. So Okay. And also, it's like there's a lot of like tax incentive stuff and breaks for that various places do. So that's why Georgia has got production companies out the wazoo because they got major tax breaks for companies going and shoot there. And Iceland, I think, is something similar. And Iceland has some very bizarre landscapes there, because it's a volcanic island. It's constantly changing. It's growing every minute, really. So you got some pretty strange things going. You won't find anywhere else. It's not just tundra. It is just weird volcanic land, volcanic formations. Okay, I'm not sure where the hell that came from, Herb, but okay. And actually, I think we could probably do well with a version of the NHS over here. The problem is that so many on the who go towards it tend to go for abolishing private insurance entirely in favor of a government system, and that is just suicide. Because anybody who spent any time dealing with a government agency, from the DMV to anyone up, realize that's the last people you want in charge of your health. So, yeah, it's like something. And then they're probably not looking for snow. If they're just looking for a weird landscape, you can't get much weirder than Iceland. It's bizarre, the lava formations they got there. So, here we go. It's getting hot, so it doesn't want to charge. So. Okay. The picture's about to get a little weird here because I got to take the back off of the camera. So get it from it is hot. This thing is very hot. Okay. This a bit. Okay. All right. But yeah, I could see a very American version of the NHS where you have a government-run system as kind of the provider of last resort, but you still have your private insurance on the side. Let that, and actually cut back a lot of the regulation on that, because that is why things cost so damn much right now. Has been meddling in insurance. And the thing is, you know why they charge like $85 for an aspirin? Because they can. Because insurance will cover a lot of this stuff. It's the same exact reason why college tuition costs out the wazoo, because they'll know somebody will just get a student loan to cover it, so they can charge ridiculous amounts and never cut their own salary, never cut tuition costs, because they know they'll get the money. If they actually had to compete for this crap, then you'd see the prices come up. Because once upon a time there was, where health insurance was not a life or death situation. I mean, yeah, the doctors weren't necessarily that well paid, but you also didn't get bankrupted because just somebody had an appendicitis. You worked out payment plans with the doctor and you moved on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, stop that. Yeah, the Medicare funds, that's just, people who don't understand economics or medicine for that matter, and just go to Medicare. Medicare is, again, it's kind of, for those in my situation where it's like you have no money and not going to get any, then I really don't even fit because I got the VA. And again, there's an example right there of government-run healthcare in a nutshell, the VA. The VA has been a joke probably since it was founded after the Civil War. There were probably guys bitching about the VA back in 1880. Okay. So yeah, you want the visibility of government-run healthcare? Talk to a vet. You will hear all kinds of horror stories from the amusing to the blood-curdling. Okay. In recent years, it hit a fever pitch because people are literally dying in waiting lines, trying to get to see a doctor, and everything got so screwed up. And that's the point where they finally say enough is enough, and they're finally starting to get some improvements. So, oh god. Okay, well, yep. So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a time limit here because this thing is not gonna stop charging. And I'm trying to prevent bringing the fan up here, because that'll just make it sound like the thing's in a windstorm. Because there's microphones on both sides. And also try to avoid hitting the phone. But again, I think there is, you can make the argument for some sort of government program as, again, a sort of a provider of last resort. Because while... Sorry, Elizabeth Warren, but healthcare is not a right. You can't just declare something a right because you think everyone should have it, okay? When someone has to, provide material services and then you're drawing something from somebody else, it's not a right. A right is something that is, fundamental to you. Freedom of speech. You can speak your mind. Be able to defend you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to, stand your ground, But you do not have a right to take something from someone else, be it money or services or something else. That is a whole nother thing. Now, we can all agree that you should be able to get health care and be able to take care of yourself. But that's not the same thing as it being a right. That's just being nice, really. Because that's all something, and people talking about, it's a human right. No. If someone's got to pay for it, it's not a right. Okay? Nobody has to pay for me shooting my mouth off about whatever I think. And I suppose I should probably apologize for that one dimwit congresswoman up there with a cowboy hat saying that anybody who makes fun of congresspeople should be prosecuted. Prosecuted under what law, you dumb bitch? And I've tweeted to her a kind of a slightly edited, truncated version, copy of the First Amendment. I had to chop the religion clause out because there wasn't room, 140 characters and all that. Congress shall make no law respecting the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the freedom of, file grievances against, it's like, you dumb, in the very fact that we have a First Amendment allows me to call her a dumb bitch, even though she's an elected official. She is a dumb bitch. She needs to grow a freaking thick skin or get the hell out of Congress. And that kind of attitude from there is a First Amendment to protect us against stupid idiots who get into power and think they're above criticism. They're making fun. They should be prosecuted. Prosecuted for being made fun of? I would have defendants lined around the damn block if you could prosecute someone for making fun of me. All right. Going back to grade school. Get a grip, you idiot. And lose the cap, for God's sakes. You're wearing a cowboy hat while working on the floor of Congress? Who the hell do you think you are? Dale Evans? Yeah, she's from here. So I don't know which district she's from. I hope to God she's not the one I'm in. I mean, she's been there for a while. I remember seeing, footage of her on like Fox News or whatever, before I even got down here, even thought about coming down here. But it's like, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if they're saying nothing in front of the Congress. All right, newsflash. You work for us, dummy. Okay. You're a congresswoman or congressperson. You work for us. We don't work for you. You are not some appointed noble over us, okay? So I'm the boss. No, we're the boss. You do what we say. You're supposed to represent the people. It's like this, I mean, we are living in very strange times, people. You got, and it's going to be a rather turbulent election this year. But I have no doubt that, barring some major catastrophe, mark my words, Trump is getting reelected with a landslide victory that'll, make 1972 look like a squeaker. And for those that know what I'm talking about, Richard Nixon beat George McGovern he won like 49 states. If you're look at the election map, it's like it's just a whole sea of, in this case, it'd be red. And I think we're heading to that kind of, because they're going to, because the same sort of thing, Nixon did not win that re-election by a wide margin because people suddenly fell in love with Nixon. It's because George McGovern scared the living crap out of him. It's like, we can't, no way we're letting this guy in. Either they, voted for Nixon's protection or the McGovern voters never showed up. And Reagan was the same way. When he beat the stuffing out of Walter Mondale, about the same kind of margins. Just the whole everything. States that never went Republican, before or since, they went Republican that year. But let's get away from the politics for a while because I want to go down the right road. But. But yeah, there's things we can pull, but you start leaning towards this authoritarian, like, yeah, Nazi. I think, excuse me? I'm a freaking Zionist. What are you talking about, Nazi? Right. Anyway, we can move this back to Star Trek somehow. What do we got? They scare everybody off? Oh, still 6 people. This thing's trying to go down. I've been following some of the reports about Galaxy's Edge out in Anaheim, the Disneyland out there. And well, something else making the noise. Okay. But on the one hand, yeah, I think they're describing it like a ghost town. And I deferred to Jeremy with Geeks and Gamers on why that's happening, because he is a big theme park guy. He's got annual passes for Disney World out here, but he said he's got contacts for Disneyland, so he's got a little information, but mostly out here. But one of the things that there probably is screwing them over at Disneyland is they're blackout dates for the annual pass holders. There's like certain days, nope, you got to pay. No, you can't come. We're trying to get new business in here. Just tourists and stuff. They can they spend more, and it's not working because apparently Disneyland tends to draw more local traffic. The people are in the area. It's not that they're not pulling from real far away. I guess maybe like these, there's something every time I've been there, it's been where we're coming from a long ways away, like from Denver out there. But mostly Disneyland, I guess nowadays pulls from just from Southern Californians, to the area, not necessarily Anaheim, but in the LA area. Whereas Walt Disney World is mostly international tourism. So, and so I think what you might see them is start lifting those blackout dates to get people back in there. But the thing is, those who have gotten in there, especially going back to Galaxy's Edge, it's actually a very pleasant experience without the massive crowds. And they've been able to walk around and see stuff and not being pushed around. The waits are not long. You can get right onto things. The only drawback is they didn't stock enough kyber crystals because someone didn't figure that people will be ordering more than one or two. Like, what, you're just going to keep swapping the same kyber crystal out from your Saber to your Holocron and stuff? No, people want multiple crystals, Sometimes they don't necessarily want a blue or a green blade. They want to go red today, so they want to swap it out for a red one. So that thing, hopefully they're stocking more kyber crystals out there. But otherwise, you can actually see what's going on. The Cantina staff are very pleasant, not overworked. They can get your order right. Because there's one video I saw, the guy who was there when they first opened, they did the invite thing, and they were overwhelmed. The poor Cantina staff were going nuts trying to keep the stuff up. But the last time they were out there, it's like, oh, okay. Well, that's not helping. That's going to be the, and also that's something they can fix easy enough just by, start bringing in characters, get some original trilogies, because the setting, there's nothing about that setting that says it has to be exclusively sequel trilogy. It looks enough like a regular Star Wars planet. You can have, original trilogy stormtroopers and Darth Vader, wandering around. It doesn't have to be exclusively sequel stuff. And also, no one is going there expecting, absolute fidelity to the timeline either. Okay? So they can fix that easy enough just by, get some people in there in the right costumes, Put up a few more things. And also, more rides coming to do, because they only got the one ride right now with the Falcon. Now that, again, with all the negative stuff, and I concede the argument that it's like they're screwing things up. They're not honoring the one that they're not dancing with the one who brought them. I still want to go. I want to see this joint, and that's tempered with the fact that just getting into Disneyland normally is so insanely expensive these days. It's ridiculous. I don't know where Jeremy gets his money. He's got annual passes. And I'm going to have to run the thing for a bit because the Kazakh lady's about to die here. Drama queen. Hey. Jonesy, come on. You're going to get arrested, you know that? Okay. All right. I think there's and they could definitely at least get a little more attention from the old school fans. I mean the park is a solvable issue. That's not a problem. And like this, Disneyland itself was a bit of a disaster when it first opened. None of the rides worked. So the institutional memory is there for you. We know how to deal with failures of the entire park screwed up first time out. So this is just one feature we can work with this. And they're probably get it all figured out by the time they get the one out here in Florida. But yeah, I want to get out to that thing one day. Well, the Klingon's just the most glaring example of the entire process that's wrong with that. I just wonder who the hell thought this would fly with the fans. You're making the Klingons look like iguanas. What the hell's who's going to believe this? Especially when you try. Oh, it's Prime. It's in the timeline. Really? In what fever dream imagination do these Klingons look anything like Kura or Koloth? And this is just 10 years. Evolution takes leaps and bounds, but not that big, Yeah, actually, the guy who, I forget the name, but the guy who does the makeup for he's on one of the experts on Face Off. And one of the things he was constantly getting onto the contestants for was completely covering up the features and not letting for their face show through to let them emote. And what does he do? They're practically in pull-on masks. They're so covered up with between the most total immersion in latex and the false teeth and the contacts. Like there's nothing left of the actor. Yeah, oh yeah, Westmore's got a few awards on the shelf for doing that, next gen. There's been talk about a Star Trek theme park. The closest they really got was the Experience in Vegas. Because it's one thing to talk about a theme park, but it's a big. The theme park is a big endeavor. Just ask the Disney folks. It's it's not an exact science. I think the best you're going to get as far as Star Trek goes. I saw, somebody did a map of a Star Wars theme park, and yeah, there's enough there. You could do, the different planets and in different eras, in different parts of the park. And on paper, it looks great, but especially considering what they have done to the franchise, I'll get to that in a second. I'm not sure you can draw the crowds now for a Star Wars land because they have so bossed things up. They've killed the interest. You got literally people, the Star Wars fans, do not care about Episode 9. Just a few years ago, if someone would tell you that pretty soon no one's going to care, they can read your mind. Yeah. Okay, the Star Trek Experience, that one was closed down because it was getting a little dated. It was starting to get a little long in the tooth, and also the plan was to put in a Michael Jackson attraction in that site. So they pulled the plug on that, and Michael Jackson dies. But they've already shut down Experiences, So it was like, best laid plan situation there. But I think that the DS9 next gen type setting was probably wearing a bit. If I were to start up something like that now, I'd do it in the original series setting. Do it like on Space Station K7 or something, or make up some station. And do that kind of thing. And work, get a simulator right for the original, for the Enterprise. Yeah, the original Enterprise. Because that's probably the 60s show is probably the least dated of the bunch of them right now because it was so out there as far it wasn't really following any kind of tropes of the era. Whereas a lot of the next gen and stuff does kind of speak of the era they were made in, the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, and it probably has to be that level of detail. The Kingsland sets wouldn't work because the Kingsland sets are too rough. That's a working set. They only got to look good on camera. They don't have to look good in person. For something like this, you'd have to look good in person. Makeup. You'd have to look good under the Mark I eyeball. So, but you could probably you could mount a bridge set on some little gimbal thing, so shake the entire set, really get hit. one thing about it would be a little cramped, though, because it is one thing the next gen bridge, the Enterprise D bridge, has is a lot more room for you can bring a large crowd on board. I heard a story about talking to one of the guys in the gift shop at the experience about how anybody been on the ride where you're going, you board the Enterprise and they take the bridge and they they don't have a rule about costumes. The guys don't, and they have a whole group of Klingons going through this thing. And at one point, there's a little tape where Riker is explaining that there's a very aggressive race called Klingons, and it's like, and the back row is just nothing but Klingons. So it's one of those little weird experiences there. You feeling better? All right, that's enough for now. Okay, put that in the pocket. Something weird happens, but just stuff like that. And the Enterprise D set was good, except when you look over in the corner and there's very clearly a conventional door with the push bar and everything. Something I had actually forgotten about until I was going through stuff. And when Universal Studios, they had a little Star Trek thing where you bring people up, put them in costume. And I actually get on that. And unfortunately, I just had one scene, where a dying engineer, just screaming, ah! And then they got black in their face and they kind of collapse. And I had the singular honor of dying in the arms of some cute girl from Sweden. So. But it was like, I didn't even get that far. And in the finished video, it was just a couple of steps, and that was it. It's like, this ain't worth paying for. Well, I didn't get the tape of that. I wanted to be on the bridge, okay? I wanted to be a bridge officer. And I was still in the Air Force at the time, so I still had the haircut. It was clean shape, relatively decent shape, but, I wanted to, be in the good uniform, be at the helm. Because, some of those uniforms have come up on eBay here sometimes. But yeah, one thing I had totally forgotten about that at one point, and then somehow I came across, yeah. Or maybe been talking with B. Joseph. I don't know about that. Yeah, I think actually it was a conversation with Beto Trimble, and she mentioned this. Oh wait, yeah, I was on that, and I told her about it. There were some other guys who were in the Klingon outfit, and how they saw the issue of the Klingon armor, how fast it went on. And they had, the big spine going back with the Velcro thing. Just there you go, and you're in quick. So those are good, little lessons to be translated to making your own Klingon armor. This is still want to go down. Plug this here. Okay. I just understand that I don't think. I don't know if anybody has a refit era bridge for fan film. Maybe because the plans aren't quite as readily available. They're really the original series plans. You can get a whole, even if you got a, oh stop it! It hasn't been all that long. Jones, it is not hot. You know what I mean? This cat's a drama queen. Okay? His engine's not been off that long. It's not gotten hot. Okay, what is your problem? Fortunately, I have a full tank of gas, so. Before I do something weird over here. Okay. Come here. All right. Yeah, I think by now it's, even if you're doing a modification of the McMaster blueprints, they're pretty close enough. You're not going to really notice, that they are off by like 0.5% here and there. But so yeah, it's not that difficult because a lot of flat surfaces, building that's it. The refit bridge, that one I see as being a bit more of a challenge. Plus, also there weren't really construction blueprints on there really around much for that set, so that would be a bit of a closer. All right. So one thing, one of these days, I want to put the bug in Rob Burnett's ear. Well, since Alec Peters is going to he just wants to do like episodes 2, 3, and 2 and 3 of the Axonar Chronicles and just do that documentary type stuff with little insert scenes here and there. I'll say, how about we figure out some way to do the Axonar movie? Even if it's just on like radio play, animated, shadow puppets, whatever. Because I'll tell you, the final, I got the final draft and the final shooting draft, which is quite a bit different than the earlier versions that where Garth was perfect in everything he did and thought. I mean, one thing is going through one of the battles, a lot easier to follow the version that Rob helped write. Well, sets are sets are very big, bulky. Got a lot of people. Oh, just plywood thing. Guess what? The Discovery sets, what they're made out of? Plywood. Okay. So the construction techniques have not changed at all. I mean, just what they're painted with and how many video screens get in there. But it's the same process. They might have sold everything. I think they may have held on to something. But again, at that point they didn't figure we're not going to use most of this stuff ever again. Again, effects, the ship effects had all pretty much gone digital by that point. You're not going to need the big motion control models anymore. So the Refit Enterprise, that one is, I think, one of the co-founders of Microsoft bought that one. It's in a lobby of the office building, is it somewhere, just right there. A lot of stuff went to that Paul Allen, his little sci-fi museum, like the Enterprise D's up there, and a few other items that were there. Like for the Trouble with Tribbles, seen in Mr. Lurie's office, and you look in the windows, and you can see the Enterprise out the window. They had an old AMT model they built for that. They actually put a little more detail than that. They actually did the decals and lights in the nacelles and everything. Even though it's like on a TV set at the time, you can barely make out that it's the Enterprise. I mean, just by the shape, you can't see any detail in that thing at all. What is this you're going on here? But that one's up there. I would be amazed if anybody held on to the Constellation long at all. They find it in somebody's, like a Matt Jeffries closet somewhere. Oh, look at this. Well, they probably trashed it. Because again, that model at the time of the original series, when was that? It probably sold for me, $1.50, $2. So it wasn't like they needed. We can find out. Go to the hobby shop. Here's $2. Get another model. But yeah, bridge pieces, they are, usually, and especially the hallways are just flats, just angled, set up in the thing, so they can store those easy enough. In fact, a lot of those original pieces are probably, I think, UCLA. They probably used and reused over and over again, painted. If you could possibly run a thing, yeah, that was used for as part of the corridors. But like the bridge, there's really not much you can do with that. So it pretty much had to be trashed. I think they donated to UCLA for a while, but they couldn't do anything with it. Yeah, it's a monster. It's a monster of a set piece. So yes, they had to recreate everything. They didn't have to recreate it in such a god awful way. Okay. And again, the fixation of going up the Canada. You could have taken it to Georgia. You could have taken over those Kingsland sets, and with a slight redress, they can easily, make to look pilot era. The bridge does not really take a whole lot, especially since it would be a couple years after the cage. You're only fitting between the cage and where No Man's gone before, so there's your range for what it would look like. And again, they put a little studio money into that, and you can easily make it, cage, era compliant. You got the whole damn set right there. You got the bridge, you got the corridors, you got the engineering, you got a transporter room, you got sick bay. You're ready to go. The sets that are already up and are camera ready. They look great on camera. Yeah. High def might be into the shoot, but with pretty good definition, they look pretty damn good on camera. Well, yeah, why do you think they kept redressing the sets all the damn time? Because that refit Enterprise bridge, they reused that over and over again throughout Next Generation. It was the battle bridge for the Enterprise D. It was the courtroom in Measure of a Man. Well, I think it goes back to that license. And here's where, put a little bit of, thing about must be different by 25%. It has to be different by 25% in order for them to claim it for their own merchandising purposes. Otherwise, it's too derivative of the original work, and they wouldn't be able to get exclusive merchandising royalties. So for them to, like, Polar Lights is just now coming out with models for Discovery. They got and it's 12500 scale, but they're about the same size as their 1000 stuff. And basically, they got the Discovery. They just came out with the Shinzo, and next up is the Enterprise. And I think, I think part of it was when they got that wireframe picture of the Enterprise. I don't think I'll ever see the Enterprise in Picard. They'll refer to it, but then I don't think they'll ever show it. What, cat? There's no way you're out of stuff back there. What are you doing? No, but I don't think we'll see the Enterprise. Not the Enterprise E, that's for sure. Never get the Enterprise F or G prior, they're going. But you got to follow the sequence of events here of when what was announced, in there, because if Discovery had been the big colossal hit they're pretending it is, you wouldn't hear Picard. They'd be talking about, more Discovery. And maybe this cartoon thing and all that, but Discovery bombed badly. It is not bringing the numbers, and they're starting to panic. And suddenly going with a Picard show, that is a panic move on Kurtzman's. Like, well, how about it? So Jean-Luc Picard, yeah, we can do that. And I think a lot of shows coming out is a panic reaction to trying as many things in the pipeline as possible to hold off being just pull the plug. That's it, you're out of here. Yeah. We're not doing any of the damn shows. Go away. Yeah. We went up here for an hour. Actually, I'll tell you, that Enterprise, I might pick up a Disco Prize. Just because, but that'll be it. I have no interest in that pizza cutter they call Discovery. The Shinzo, I think, only as a kit bashing exercise. Because I'm not that high about that design, really, because there's too many, it just does not fit the era at all. I'm a little not that impressed with the bridge on the bottom. No. What? No, I think what's going to happen with Picard is they're going to give the explanation that everybody's dead. Happened off screen. That's why he's so depressed and won't go back in, because all of his crew is gone. So there'll be no very expensive guest appearances. I'm guessing Brian Fuller liked it. It's interesting. At certain angles it's okay, but it's but there's a reason it was rejected. Mainly because at that point it's supposed to be a refit. It's like that's not a refit. You can barely argue that the saucer's the same. But but a large part of and Roddenberry himself did this, where it's like you take something that's already been worked up and designed, and say he's like, well, we still own this, so just drag that out and put it in the service. So since technically they still own the Ralph McQuarrie design, they can go. Jones, what do you want? All right. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. We've been at this for about a little over an hour. I think we need to wrap it up because I'm starting to drop here. So, catching this later. I will put the links down below, but in the meantime, oh yeah. That's just bad. Get some links up here. There's a PayPal link to go to there if you feel so inclined. Or a super chat or whatever, but I'm going to pull the plug on this guy. That is one actually little thing, and I wish that when Universal was just tossing the Galactica stuff out, because there were a lot of stuff that people got out of the trash that there's like one time I was auctioning off semi-finished Galactica tunic, and I was in the bin for a long time, but somebody snag it out, and I couldn't get online in time to catch it. I saw the aftermath. Well, George Lucas is kind of like Ryan. He throws nothing away. So some design, May not work for this situation, but it might come up later. So, shush. Jones, lighten up. Knock it off, okay? It's not that hot. It's not that hot. Stop it. Oh, you stop it. Okay, this is about to get ugly. Get your claws out of my shirt, you little twerp. Jones, let go of my shirt. Let go of my shirt. Come on. Got you. Oh, stop it. Come on. Lighten the hell up. All right? My God, cat. All right, a little more. All right. Now, how long do I have to run this before you finally lighten up and I get to get some sleep? Yeah, you settle right down. Like everything perfectly normal. Oh, yes. Oh, nice and happy Freddy cat now, you little creep. This is what I mean. This cat's a drama queen out the wazoo. But this is right there, like nothing's ever happened. Oh yeah, nothing wrong in the world. Yeah, he's a very moody cat. I'm gonna check and see what's going on back there. I think it was. Like the old saying goes, dogs have owners, cats have staff. So, And again, thankfully, they got a full tank of gas right now because Steph just got paid. So. Oh, yeah, you know, you want to really read, track down the first draft of Star Wars. You see a lot of familiar names, but not many familiar faces because they're all totally different what's depicted in there. And people are, you know, the relations are all about the, but, you know, Lucas keeps names and stuff. You never know. Things might turn around and use, like the name for another character. I think originally Han Solo wasn't even human. It's kind of a green alien type thing. Pretty much, yeah. And actually, I will give George Lucas some credit. When he did the prequels, he still hit him at the same level as the first one, and that's really creative. That's really all you should have done because the 3 have to lead into 4. You can't have this big gripping of maximum travel and then go into a kids movie on episode 4. You got to maintain the level. And if you watch them back to back to back and go right, yeah, they all flow. And to an extent, Force Awakens, or not Force Awakens, Rogue One. Or I think there's episode 3.75. Oh yeah, Lucas said, right off the bat, he borrowed heavily from, and he actually talked to Joseph Campbell for a while about the hero's journey and all that. Didn't just study it. He wasn't the guy who wrote the book. Well, the main thing is that there was 2 characters in the Hidden Fortress. That was that was his model for R2 and 3PO. These 2 guys who was just schmucks, but managed to be there through the whole thing. Watch it all unfold. I should watch more Kurosawa. I've seen Seven Samurai once or twice. That's a movie I got to be in the right mood to watch, because as much as I like it, it's a long movie. Like if I were to watch it now, I'd be out, by the end of the first reel. Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah, that interview is one of the few things I would. Yeah, that's a few things of Bill Moyers I would, get it. Because, talking to Joseph Campbell. I've got at least a couple of those books somewhere back in Denver. Go ahead and read them. Okay, we're at 71 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug on this here because I'm about ready to drop. I'm going to get, move over to a darker area of the parking lot here. So PayPal is in the link, and for those watching this later, I'll put it in the description. So that in the Patreon, a few other things. I'm down to 3 patrons right now, with about a grand total like $42 for a month, and it would really, I'd really be able to get some more people, to sign up on Patreon. So you can share this around and say, you want to help a YouTuber, help this guy. And so with that, I think we'll go ahead and good night, folks.